Good morning and welcome to calendar time for today. I am so sorry there was no calendar time yesterday. That's because our internet was down and we had to wait for the repairman to get it fixed. So I am sorry about that, but we're back today and it's a special day. It's Groundhog Day. Sue, come on out here and say hello to our friends. And Sue brought something. Show us what you brought today. Sue brought a little groundhog. Well, that's pretty cute. Do you know what Groundhog's Day is all about? So it's a tradition that there is a groundhog named Phil, Puxatawny Phil. And when they tap on his door, if he wakes up and he wants to play, that means he's ready for spring. And if he wants to go back in his home, then that means he wants to cozy back up. There'll be more winter. Now, a groundhog cannot predict the weather, not really. It's just a fun tradition that people do. Only God can make the weather and control the weather and knows what the weather is going to be like. Only God can do that. But it is fun to have some cute ideas for Groundhog's Day. So I'll show you some of those. And Sue, if you want to, we'll see what day Groundhog's Day is. Let's do our calendar time. And also we need to do our class job. Sue's going to let me borrow her groundhog for the shelf. So happy Groundhog Day, Fred. Let's do that first. Okay, and now we're going to turn around and do calendar time. So the month is February. It's a brand new month. Can you say February? February. Last month was January and this month is February. And you can see the numbers look like hearts because Valentine's Day is in February. Let's see how we're going to count today. Oh, it says we're going to count like a groundhog. Well, groundhogs pop up out of their hole and pop down. So we'll do that too as we count. So let's start by popping up. Are you ready? 1. Now pop down. 2. And we're done because there are only 2 days. So today is February 2nd. Can you say that? February 2nd. Groundhog Day comes every year on February 2nd. But today, February 2nd, falls on what day of the week? Starts with the W. It's Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. Days of the week. 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 There's Sunday and there's Monday. There's Tuesday and there's Wednesday. There's Thursday and there's Friday. And then there's Saturday. Days of the week. 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 Well, let's see what your Wednesday weather looks like. Can you look outside and check? Okay, when I do like this with my microphone, you can shout out whatever your weather is. Here we go. What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather like today? What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather like today? It is, it is, it is out today. It is, it is, it is out today. Well, let's dress Weather Bear for today with some long pants and a long shirt and a coat and a hat. And Weather Bear is dressed for what season? Winter. The season is winter, but spring is next. And the groundhog usually helps us to decide if spring is coming soon, but that's just in tradition. So we're going to do something fun right now. I want us to see if we can predict what the groundhog is going to do today, what that famous groundhog Phil, Puxatawny Phil, is going to do. Now, if you want to, you can go to my website and you can get a copy of this bar graph and you can ask everyone in your family what they think will happen. Will the groundhog see his shadow and go back and hide? Or will the groundhog come out and play? So make your guess. I'm going to guess that the groundhog will play. So I'm going to color in one space for myself. And let me see. Sue, what do you think? Okay, Sue thinks the groundhog is going to hide. And Fred, what about you? Oh, Fred thinks that groundhog is going to play. Fred's swimming all around. So you get your family to predict and see what they think will happen. And now let's see what did happen this morning with Puxatony Phil. Did he come out and play, or did he see his shadow? All right, let's find out. We're going to watch just a short little clip. Looks like well, there he is, finally. He didn't want to come out. He wanted to stay cozy inside. He wanted to hide. So if you guessed that the groundhog wanted to hide, then you were right. That's what they decided, that he wanted to hide. He wants to get cozy. It's going to be cold in winter for longer. Well, that was pretty fun. And now I want to do something else. I want to do some shape practice with you. So take a look at this. Can you tell me what shape this is? This groundhog is in the shape of a circle. Very good job. All right, now is this groundhog, what shape is he? He looks like a diamond. That one's a diamond. What shape is this groundhog? A heart. That's a heart. I'm going to go back out and in because sometimes it wants to freeze. And I want to be sure you can. That one was a heart. Okay, can you see this one? This one has 6 sides. What shape is this? That's a hexagon, a hexagon. What shape is this? It looks like a moon. It's a crescent. What shape is this with 8 sides? An octagon. What about this hedgehog or this groundhog? He's an oval, an oval. And this groundhog, he has 5 sides. Pentagon, pentagon. What about this groundhog? He has 4 sides, but 2 are short and 2 are long. That's a rectangle. And what about this groundhog? He's a square. And what is this groundhog? A star. This one is a trapezoid, a trapezoid. And what is this groundhog? A triangle. Good job, good job. Okay, well, I want to see if we can head over to the art table and make a cute groundhog stay craft today. For art today, we're going to make a cute little groundhog. He's going to go inside the cup. If you want a picture, if you want a copy of this groundhog, you can go to my website and you can look for the weekly lesson plan for this week, and you can get a copy of this and all the plans and worksheets. Okay, so there's the little groundhog. You can also find those online pretty easily. I'm going to just color this little groundhog brown. You could even draw your own groundhog if you wanted to. It's basically just an oval with eyes and nose and mouth. Okay, next we're going to take a paper cup. And groundhogs live in the ground. They burrow in holes in the ground. So I'm just going to color the bottom part of this cup brown, like the dirt. Okay, I'm going to color the top part of it green, like grass. And I'll go all the way around that later. But right now I want to put this little groundhog on a stick. So I'm going to just poke a hole in the bottom of the paper cup, and you can use a popsicle stick or a straw or even a pencil like I did. I'm going to tape the groundhog to the pencil. Then I'm going to put that pencil right back in that hole that we made in the bottom. And now take a look. I can make the groundhog go down into the cup or come back up, down and up. He can come out and play, or he can go down and hide. So there you have it. That's our art project for today. Now I'm going to come back around and we'll learn a little something about groundhogs. Well, there's our little art project for today. The groundhog can go up and down. Hope you get to make one. Did you know that groundhogs are also known as whistling pigs? That's true. Let me tell you some things about a groundhog. So a groundhog is called a whistling pig, even though it looks nothing like a pig, but it can make a whistling sound when it gets scared. Groundhogs burrow deep underground. They can make tunnels and little rooms. It's kind of like a tiny village under there. Groundhogs can climb trees and swim if needed. If something's chasing them, they can scurry right up a tree or swim to get away. Groundhogs hibernate in the winter, just like bears do. That means they sleep all winter long and they wake up when it gets time for spring and it's warmer. Well, let me read a fun story to you before we go. It's called Substitute Groundhog, and it's by Pat Miller. The day before Groundhog Day, Groundhog woke up sick. His muscles ached and his throat hurt. Groundhog felt so awful, he went to see Dr. Owl. "You have a bad case of flu, you do," said Dr. Owl. "You need hot clover soup and bed rest for 2 days." "How many days?" asked Groundhog. Two, hooted Owl. But Groundhog Day was tomorrow. Groundhog couldn't let everybody down because he was too sick to do his job. He tried to think of something. On his way home to bed, Groundhog passed the Hidey Hole Diner. He saw want ads from all the neighborhood animals tacked to a nearby tree. Skunk was looking for a roommate. Again, Mr. and Mrs. Duck were returning north and had their nest for rent. "I know what I'll do," Groundhog thought. "I'll advertise for a substitute groundhog." By 10 o'clock, a line of animals waited to try out. "Great, achoo," said Groundhog with a sneeze. "Surely one of you can do Groundhog Day for me." Mole was first. "You have to go down in my hole," Groundhog told Mole. "It's pretty dark down there." "No problem," said Mole. "My hole is even darker." Mole got comfortable underground. "Now come up and look for your shadow," Groundhog shouted. Mole peeked over the edge. His little eyes squinted. "Well, Mole, what do you see?" Mole spoke to a tree. "Is that you, Groundhog?" Groundhog blew his nose. "This won't work. I need someone who sees well." "I can see well," said a voice from high overhead. Groundhog looked up and saw Eagle. Eagle swooped down. "From that mountain ledge, Groundhog, I could see a bit of owl feather stuck in your fur. I'd say you've been to Dr. Owl recently." "Wow, then surely you'll have no trouble seeing your shadow," said Groundhog. "Climb down in the hole and let's practice." "Climb down," said Eagle. He looked at the entrance to the hole. "Will there be room there to stretch my wings?" He stretched them out very wide. Groundhog rubbed his scratchy throat. "This won't work. I need someone who sees well and is not bothered by small spaces." Bear stepped up next. "My own cave is snug and cozy." "Great," said Groundhog. "Climb down and practice." "This is perfect," yelled Bear. "It's even more comfy than my cave." "Now come out and take a look," Groundhog called, but there was no answer. Groundhog poked his head below ground. "Bear, come look for your shadow." but Bear was fast asleep. Groundhog was frustrated. He needed a substitute who could see well, wasn't bothered by small spaces, and wouldn't fall asleep. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Let me try. Squirrel bounced to the front of the line. Okay, said Groundhog. Go down into the hole and come back up and look for your shadow. Squirrel leaped in. Whee! Then she popped her head back up. Groundhog said, see your shadow? Oh, I forgot to look. And down she went. Whee! She popped back up. Whee! And back down. I keep forgetting to look. Squirrel giggled. She popped up and down some more. This is fun, she said. But what Groundhog needed was someone who would pop up and stay up. By now, Groundhog was feeling even worse. He thought of his warm bed. Was he ever going to find a substitute? Howdy there, Groundhog. How about giving me a chance? Up stepped a strange-looking creature. My name is Armadillo, she said. You're not from around here, are you? Asked Groundhog. Nope, I'm from Texas, visiting my cousin Badger, she said. But I can do this job. I live in a hole. I like small spaces. I can see my shadow just fine, and I'll pop up and stay up. Groundhog wasn't so sure. Armadillo was a stranger from far away. What did she know about the weather here? But she did have all the qualifications for the job. All right, said Groundhog. Let's see how you do. Armadillo climbed down into Groundhog's hole. She poked her head up and looked around. Sure enough, she saw her shadow. If that happens tomorrow, tell folks that winter will drag on, said Groundhog. But if you don't see your shadow tomorrow, spring will come early. Got it, said Armadillo. I think you're just the substitute I've been looking for, said Groundhog. You're hired. Thanks, said Armadillo, and they shook paws. Then Groundhog climbed down in his hole and into bed. He sipped warm clover soup. He plumped his pillows and tucked his sore self under the flannel quilt. The next morning, the animals gathered early to hear what Armadillo would say. It was cold and crisp as the sun peeked over the forest. Badger served hot chocolate. Squirrel bounced up and down and cheered for Armadillo. Eagle flew high above the trees. Muddy Mole looked sleepy, and Bear was still in bed. The animals grew quiet as Armadillo poked her head up and carefully looked around. There, on the ground, she saw the shadow of her tiny ears and pointy nose. 6 more weeks of winter, she announced. Armadillo dropped back down into Groundhog's hole. Did you hear that, Groundhog? 6 more weeks of winter. Groundhog groaned from his bed. Uh-huh. How you feeling, Groundhog? Armadillo asked. A little better, but I'd feel a lot better if it was spring already, Groundhog said. Spring already? Said Armadillo. That gives me an idea. Armadillo found Groundhog's suitcase. Get your gear together, Groundhog, she said. It already feels like spring in Texas. You can come home with me. Really? Said Groundhog. He imagined himself rolling in warm grass instead of sneezing through 6 more weeks of cold. You betcha, said Armadillo. Groundhog jumped from his bed. He grabbed his teddy bear and his toothbrush and tossed them into his suitcase. I've always wanted to see Texas. Do you think they have a cowboy hat my size? Asked Groundhog. Sure as Texas has a lone star, said Armadillo. And together they walked through the cold to the bus station, and their shadows followed them all the way there. The end. Well, happy Groundhog Day, and we want to say goodbye to some of our special friends. Goodbye, Finley and Jada and Shelby and Johnny and Natalie, Grayson, Emma, and Buddy. Goodbye, Alice. Goodbye, Isaac, Matthew, and Philip. Goodbye, Amrita. Bye, Josiah, Abigail, and Stephen. Bye, Anne. Bye, Azaria. Bye, Jed. Bye, Owen. Bye, Hannah. Bye, Anna Jolie. Bye, Israel. We'll see you next time, everyone. Have a great Groundhog Day. Goodbye.